So I took this job just before Leman Conference a year ago. So a year ago, I was given the task of developing a strategic plan for conducting research in sow lifetime productivity. Of course, there's some challenges with sow lifetime productivity. The first is that it's affected by a wide variety of factors. So you all have sat through this morning's presentations. You heard Jenny speak. Let's have a little bit of audience participation. What factors would affect sow lifetime productivity? Say it again. The farrowing index. What else? Say it loud. Age at first service. Absolutely. What else? Longevity within the herd. The length of time that she spends in the herd. The number of parities that she has. What else? The environment. Okay, not only the environment that the sow is in during gestation, but the environment of the baby pigs in the farrowing crate. That sort of thing. What else? Yep, management. Absolutely. Management affects it. Health affects it. Both health of the sow, health of the baby pig. Genetics affect it, right? So the genetics of the sow, the genetics of the boar, as was presented by Mike before lunch. What about market prices? When sow prices are good, what happens to average parity in the United States? It goes down, right? So they start to call those older, more productive sows right in the heart of their productivity based on market prices. So you can quickly see that addressing or designing a research program to address sow lifetime productivity quickly becomes very large. And it reaches across multiple disciplines, so swine health, genetics, nutrition, reproduction, management, all of sow welfare, housing. All of those things are multiple disciplines that it branches across. So we saw that as an umbrella. So those sow lifetime productivity is really an umbrella under which a lot of other things fit. And so we in science and technology can use that to foster some collaborative projects between our different groups within science and technology. It not only accounts for sow longevity, but the idea of sow lifetime productivity also accounts for piglet production by the sow, and then the growth and the viability of those individual piglets. Of course, there are some challenges associated with sow lifetime productivity. Number one being that it's not typically monitored or benchmarked in the industry. So there's not very good mechanisms in place to capture the data that would be necessary for calculating sow lifetime productivity. If you're going to conduct research along these lines, it requires observation of a large number of females over an extended period of time. So the research is consequently extremely expensive to do. Unfortunately, not a lot of research has been done in the past. And also that there is a large amount of variation in the number of pigs females produce during their lifetime. It's very, very high under commercial conditions. And this graph shows that. This is a data from one particular system, and it shows us that nearly 40%, actually more than 40% of the sows never have more than 19 pigs within the U.S. herd. It also shows us that if you were to overlay the fallout rate in sows, it would look identical to this. So you could replace the percentage of females that have these number of pigs with the fallout rate over here, and it would look identical to this. So if we could get the sows to third parity, for example, then the females have a lot more pigs. So there's a huge amount of variation. There's a lot of our sows in the U.S. herd that never have more than 20 pigs. So we noticed that. And from a historical standpoint, we've been conducting research sort of along these lines for a long period of time. In fact, you can trace the roots of this research back to the maternal line study that somebody referenced this morning that was conducted by the National Pork Board back in the 90s. And then starting in about 2005, we targeted research that was looking more at sow longevity. So in sow longevity research, we're just concentrating on those factors which would increase the length of time that she spends in the herd. We wouldn't be necessarily looking at the factors that would increase the number of pigs that she would produce. But beginning in about 2008, then, we started to do some research that targeted increased sow lifetime productivity. And of course, this spans multiple disciplines within science and technology. However, this research was not coordinated. That's shown in this next slide. These are just the number of research projects that we have funded by year and for the different components of science and technology. So animal science, swine health with PRRS emphasis, and then animal welfare. And then you can see over the years these projects have sort of waxed and waned within the different disciplines in science and technology. So at various times there was more projects that were funded from one group or the other. And so we wanted to sort of make this a coordinated, a concerted effort to conduct that sow lifetime productivity research. So in 2011, we funded in animal science. We funded these 5 projects, and you can see that they range from a mechanism for diagnosing lameness in sows to identifying a physiological test for sow longevity, impact of timing and relocation of gilts after they've been bred, and then what factors affect pre-weaning, how pre-weaning factors affect sow lifetime productivity. So in 2011, we funded these projects. These are projects that will be coming up in 2012 and 2013. But again, this was not a concerted effort in 2011. During this time in 2010, though, the Animal Science Committee had identified this as a research priority within the National Pork Board. They identified it as an industry priority because it really, sow lifetime productivity affects the entire scope and range of producers and production. So the Animal Science Committee recommended that a study be conducted to look at the feasibility of doing a coordinated national sow lifetime productivity research program. And the Pork Board identified that as a key initiative for future funding. So that gave us sort of the go-ahead to conduct the research. So they said, okay, we think this is important, and we will look to the future out there at 5 to 7 years, and we will consider funding for a longer period of time. So that was actually key, because that gave us sort of the green light then to conduct multi-year studies that would encompass sow lifetime productivity. It would give us the ability to look at those females over a longer period of time. And so there was a strategic plan that was developed in 2010 to focus on improvement of sow lifetime productivity. And in that strategic plan, there was really 2 phases. Initially, in phase 1 was to review international research models. And so we looked at the pork CRC from Australia. We looked at the Prairie Swine Center up in Alberta. And we looked at the Danish model for conducting research as our 3 models for conducting collaborative research and building programs. The research priorities were focused on, and we completed a survey of research resources within the industry. It quickly becomes obvious that there are a limited number of institutions that can conduct research projects of this size, and that they actually need collaboration from producers that have a lot of sows, a lot of gilts, in order to be able to do this project. So this was completed Phase 1 was completed in 2010, and then Phase 2 we completed last year to develop a strategic plan, put the leadership in place, develop a budget for it, outline our facility needs, and then get proposals back from our stakeholders, and provide those to our, get proposals back from our institutions and provide those to our stakeholders. So in the strategic plan, they recommended really 3 areas of research concentration. The sort of the low-hanging fruit of sow lifetime productivity is gilt development, and optimizing gilt development to increase her lifetime productivity. The second area was increasing number of pigs weaned per litter through either improved sow lactation or management practices that would decrease pre-weaning mortality. And these 2 items together make up about 95% of the drivers of sow lifetime productivity. So these guys were the ones that we really wanted to focus on. And then, of course, increasing the length of the time that the sow stays in the herd and decreasing that fallout rate from first parity to third parity would make a huge difference in that productivity of the females. The strategic plan also identified a goal for the National Pork Board to work from, and the goal is that we will we'll conduct research that will lead to improvements in sow lifetime productivity by 30% by 2018. And currently, the U.S. herd runs approximately 35 pigs during a sow's productive lifetime. So you can come about that by 2 different ways, or a combination of those 2 ways. You can either increase the number of parities that sow has, or you can increase the number of pigs that she weans, or you can do a combination of those, where we both increase the length of time she stays in the herd as well as the number of pigs that she produces. Regardless of how we go about that, we need to increase to meet our goal. We need to increase the total pigs weaned in a sow's lifetime by 10 to 15. We've the Animal Science Committee in Science and Technology also undertook a industry productivity analysis, and that analysis, we have a rather large data set that runs from 2005 through 2010, and that data set at the time this analysis was conducted represented about 1.8 million sows in the United States, and we brought all of that data together. It was provided to us, and we conducted just some preliminary analysis on that in 2011. So these are trends that you've seen earlier today. Number of pigs born alive from 2005 to 2010 moved by 1 pig over 5 years. Number of pigs weaned by those sows moved by almost a pig over those years, and the difference between that is the mortality that we see. And mortality is relatively flat, although the 2009-2010 was starting to trend upward. Interestingly, there's no sign that we've reached a biological limit, right? There's no sign that we're starting to flatten out in the total number of pigs born alive or the number of pigs born weaned, maybe, okay? Also note that pre-weaning mortality runs somewhere between 14 and 14.5, 14.7%. So there's a lot of pigs there that we can potentially save to add to sow lifetime productivity, either through improved management practices, improved lactation physiology, milk components of those females, so that those pigs survive to make it to weaning. So there's still a little bit of ground to make up there. Weaning age has increased from 2005 to 2010, and weaning weight has gone up with it. The increase in weaning weight is the vast majority of that, 90-some% of it, is due completely to the increase in weaning age. if you calculate the average piglet average daily gain, there's actually been no progress made in average daily gain of those piglets from 2005 to 2010. So the only reason we're getting an increase in weaning weight, litter weaning weight, is because of the weaning age has increased as well. So again, there's some room to make up there. There's some research that can be conducted there to improve piglet average daily gain. And then sow mortality has been trending lower. Culling rate has been trending higher, and again, it runs about 10% in the sow mortality runs about 10%, and so highly successful systems have their sow mortality down there around 4 to 6%. So there's a lot of room to be gained in sow mortality, a lot of improvement to be made in sow mortality. This is just a tabular form of that data that I presented in graphical form earlier, but I did want to bring your attention to a couple of items here. The number born alive and the number weaned has been increasing at about a rate of about 0.2 pigs per year and about 0.15 pigs per year over the last 5 years. Pigs per mated sow per year has been increasing at a rate of about 0.4 pig per year. So we're making some great strides there. The genetics companies and the nutrition companies, the pig management companies are making great strides in increasing the number of pigs that a sow produces in a year. Look at litters per mated sow per year. We've actually made no change in that over the last 5 years. So there's been no improvement in that. So this goes back to what Francisco was talking about early this morning, that we still have a lot of non-productive sow days that would help to improve that number. If we could figure out a way to capture those non-productive sow days, we could improve that. And then also look at the sow mortality rate and replacement weight rate. While we're trending lower in those two regards, the fit of that line for that data is not very good. So we've got some areas to improve there as well. Okay, so that's sort of the current status of the factors which would affect sow lifetime productivity in the U.S. herd. So we established some sort of organizational structure for conducting this research. We've identified a project coordinator that will serve as a liaison between the National Pork Board and the representatives there, the institution that's conducting the research, and the farm where the research is being coordinated. So this person will largely serve in a coordination of those communications and facilitate that relationship. We've got a sow lifetime productivity oversight working group. This is composed of our producers that are the chairmen, the chairpersons for each of our committees within science and technology. So there's about 10 people that sit on this working group, and they are producers. They're the ones that have their boots in the barn on a day-to-day basis, and they serve as really our board of directors for overseeing the sow lifetime productivity effort. And then we've got a group that several of them are here in the room today. That's our scientific working group, and really they're the ones that are responsible for establishing that definition of sow lifetime productivity, determining how to measure sow lifetime productivity, and then to develop a roadmap for research that we can conduct and actually make an impact in sow lifetime productivity. Not only are these individuals from institutions and investigators, but we also have a large number of what I call producer scientists. Today, in swine production, a lot of our producers have PhDs, master's degrees, or DVMs that are actually running swine operations and organizations. and those people serve on the committee as well. So that's kind of how the sow lifetime productivity is set up. The scientific working group came together. They're the ones that define sow lifetime productivity. We spent a morning talking about that. How do we define it? How do we define a quality pig? What's a sow's lifetime? How is that defined? And they also identified 3 areas of research focus. The first would be gilt development, and really that's centered around the question, are we optimizing gilt development relative to lifetime productivity? And so, do our current methods that we have for developing gilts, nutrition programs, immunological programs, housing systems, feeding systems, boar exposure systems, do all those things really optimize sow lifetime productivity? The second was piglet growth and survival. Again, because these 2 areas were identified as major drivers of sow lifetime productivity. The idea is that piglets really never get over either a good or a bad start. Does that make sense to everybody? If a piglet is off to a good start, let's see, who showed that data earlier? Somebody showed that data earlier today. Maybe it was Jenny just before me that showed that those pigs that grew well, were born heavier for their litter, they also finished faster at the end. And so those pigs had a good start, and they really never lost ground. Likewise, those pigs that are off to a bad start, that are born as low birth weight pigs, they tend not to be full value pigs at the end of their lifetime. And then the third area is to develop some bioinformatics mechanisms for capturing this data. I said early on that this data is not typically benchmarked. It's typically not measured by the industry. And if you don't measure it, you can't make progress against it. Because how do you know when you've made progress? And so it's difficult to get at this number. So hopefully we can work along those lines too, so that we can move from calculating pigs per sow per year and calculate pigs over a sow's productive lifetime. That would be the goal. So as far as gilt development and retention, the scientific working group got together and they thought one of the areas that they have not a very good feel for scientifically is the rate of lean or fat deposition, and how that rate of lean or fat deposition in our modern genetics, using our modern sows, how that affects sow lifetime productivity. There's a lot of factors that go into that. So environment, reproduction, nutrition, lactation, structural soundness, and immune status are all areas that we can focus on within using rate of lean or fat deposition during gilt development. And then the second area, piglet size and viability. Really, they're talking about the influence of the mother on the piglet growth. And so areas to look at there are milk components, sow nutrition, the environment that the piglet is living in, lactation physiology, so improving the amount of milk that a sow produces, transfer of antibodies across the gut lining into the pig, enhancing that mechanism, and then management systems, developing management systems that would look at improving neonatal care, because again, we see a 14 to 15% piglet mortality, pre-weaning mortality. And there's a lot of piglets there that can potentially be saved. So what are the future directions? Well, we continually ask ourselves these questions. What type of research needs to be conducted as we're looking forward, not just in 2013 or 2014, but on out to 2018? What type of research projects need to be conducted to answer questions that are important to our producers? What are the new or emerging technologies that we can support or help to develop that would answer those questions? And then how is that information disseminated? So how do we get that? It's all well and good if we conduct the research trials and we collect the data, but at the end of the day, we're not successful in disseminating that information out to our producers. So those are the areas that we'll continue to focus on and continue to work on. So just in a summary, research in sow lifetime productivity requires a coordinated effort across multiple disciplines. Improving sow lifetime productivity has a potential to impact all phases of pork production. And then starting in 2012, our research is focusing on gilt development, and then that will, of course, continue down the road into about 2014 as we follow those gilts through to older parities. And then later on, research will concentrate on piglet growth and viability beginning about 2013. We'll start in on that effort. So that's it. I appreciate your, again, Michael, thank you for allowing me to come and spend a little bit of time talking with you about what the National Pork Board is doing in our attempts to concentrate research in sow lifetime productivity.